pitching coach. Journey into becoming a coach started out at a young age, grew up next to a little league field, and then it morphed into going to the high school fields, my dad coaching my sister, and then us playing in the backyard as kids. And then he eventually became the high school head coach where I was at. And we grew up on the baseball field. And actually it started with being a bat boy first and then turned into playing or wanting to play and being around good players because they had some really good players at the high school that I went to. And I got to watch them succeed, and it was something that I wanted to do. And whether it was playing or coaching, I wanted to be a part of it. Growing up where I grew up with my mother and my father, my mom was more of a people pleaser and my dad was more of a stoic guy. He was also in Vietnam. So it was different because taking both those parts of your parents and trying to see the good of it and trying to use it for yourself, that helped me in this journey, and it built me into what I am today. And that's where it started, and where it's going now is just trying to be disciplined on the things that guys need and then make sure they're okay on some of the other things that are going on in their lives. Yeah, it's real discipline, right? He's very meticulous about what he does. And it's funny because it starts with like his car. His car is clean all the time. That man cleans his car more than anybody I've ever met in my life. And when I say that, he's out in the driveway almost, I would say every 3 days, is washing his car. And it's funny how meticulous he gets with it, because to start with the tires, and he used to tell us how important it was to clean the tires. And I think that's where it starts in coaching and in baseball. You start with the basics and what drives you, and then you work up from there. I don't think you can start anywhere else, right, and try to build this thing, and you have to go through it, and you have to be disciplined in what you're doing and pay attention to the details. And I learned that at a young age with him, because when we started doing field work at the high school, he was the grounds crew too. And that's how we got on the field first. It was, hey, Alan, go grab the rake. Let's get this raked up before we go and use it, and then we'll have to rake it up again at the end. And that was just part of my childhood. I'm very honest. I would hope that guys would say that, whether they want to hear it or not. I'm going to say it. Also, I'm in it for the long game, so I want to make sure that these guys understand that I'm here for them for that lesson 5-10 years down the road that maybe right now they're not ready for, but they're going to hear it from me. And maybe they don't understand it in the moment, or maybe it comes across as, hey, is Q actually just coming after us here? And I'm like, no, it's for the long game. It's for down the road. And so my philosophy, again, is coming back to what we just talked about, is I'm going to build the foundation first, and then we're going to get to all the details later. And I think that builds a long, quality baseball player and human being, I hope. The overall philosophy is to get these guys to throw strikes, right, and be competitive. And then if they can start executing pitches in different locations and change up usage, that's great. But our overall focus is to get the ball in the strike zone, and dealing with different guys, whether it's a guy that's mechanical, whether it's a guy that's mental, whether it's a guy that's physical, whether it's a guy that's having a bad week or a bad month. You have to recognize those things and pivot into different coaching situations or styles. And you have to know that going into the game, he's not in a great space, but we're going to have to gut through it. It's different for every guy, and that's what makes this job fulfilling, is that every day is different, even though it's the same, right? You're coming in, you're playing the same game, but the variables and what happens in the game are different every day. And that's what's beautiful about baseball, I think. It's the long game. We're going to do this for, if you want to add up the days, again, 210 days or whatever together. If they're just going to base it off of one night or one outing, then they're going to have a long career ahead of them and a long life, because life doesn't work that way either. And it's a game of lessons, this game and life. So I try to get them to understand that there is light at the end of every tunnel, but there's going to be some darkness, and you're going to have to go through it alone. Getting these guys through tough situations is why we're here, and there's no easy answer, ever. So if we think that there's just one quick fix, that's just not the way it works. We're trying to make good, if not great, Major League Baseball players so that they can help the big league club win. And if they don't see that in the cards, even when guys go up and they're successful and they get sent back down, it is a people game. So you have to deal with the emotions of what that person is going through. But at the end of the day, you're still playing the same game. It's just in a different location, right? Now, is there money being lost and things like that? Maybe there is. But if you're looking at this game to make money, then I think that you're in, and it's just my personal opinion, for the wrong reasons. Because if you're doing this because you love it and you are as uber talented as a lot of these players that we have here are, the money's going to find you eventually. You just got to keep your course, hope your body holds up, and push forward. My biggest thing is just to get these guys focused in what they're doing on their day-to-day task. If we're worried about the future, we're worried about things we can't control. If we're worried about the past, it's already happened. We have to move on to today. Honestly, once they go, and this is going to sound really weird, it's on to the next guy, to the next guy, because their journeys, and sometimes it wasn't even my impact. Like, we seem to forget, especially in this system, in this business, like Runzler in Low A does a wonderful job with these guys, Mario, Paul in Double A, and then they get to myself, and then Garvin's been in this system. We've all had our hands in a lot of these guys, so I think a lot of the credit goes to the entire pitching group with Lear and Rapata as well. So it's for me, it's fulfilling for us as a group, but and I don't know if I can speak for everybody, but I feel like I can in that notion. We're so locked in on just helping each guy improve to get the guy to the next level that we're on to the next one. We're on to the next one. And for me, it's great for those guys to go do that and succeed. But then for me, it's handing them over to Brian Price, Garvin, and JP Martinez to make them better big leaguers. And again, this entire group, starting from the top down, has done everything that we could ask them to do. And so it's really fulfilling as a whole group. But singular for myself, I move on to the next guy. It's great for those guys, but for me, I look at it, how does a Carson Seymour feel? And how can I help him? Because I want him to have the same feeling that Birdsong got, or a Ragsdale, or whoever else is in it. And we're trying to get those moments for them, because once a Birdsong gets the call, it's over. It's on to the next guy.
Of all the guys that come through here.
Yeah, I mean, there are different styles of pitching, but the mainstays of pitching are strikes, right? I mean, you can't play the game without throwing strikes and doing it at a high level. Most major league pitchers, they do an unbelievable job of throwing quality pitches in the strike zone, right? That's what we're trying to do here. And teaching a lot of these younger guys, because AAA has gotten younger, to do that is the task. Now, if a guy is more powerful or more physical, how can we enhance those things? And everybody's going to have a different way. And just using Seymour throws the absolute crap out of the baseball. We got to teach him how to pitch. You know, a guy like Ragsdale, we had to pull down some arm side misses and put him in the zone. And those things, they don't happen overnight. And you got to, again, be ready for the long game. And it goes back to what I was taught foundationally as a coach and as a player from my dad, the discipline of being able to do those things over and over again without getting distracted by the things that I shouldn't be focusing on. That's a key. And if you get good at that, the game gets a lot better for you.
Yeah. Okay.
The thing that I've always learned is communication and organization, and then passion and just being meticulous with what you care about. The guys that have had the most success that I've been around in coaching, they've had those foundational things of being organized, communicating, being disciplined in the work that they wanted to do, or the type of player that they were looking for. For me, it's those things, and I've learned a lot of those lessons. And another guy that worked in the Giants organization, Greg Taggart, that guy is organized, he's hard on his coaches, his expectations are high, and it makes you a better coach if you're pushed that way. Some people today can't handle those types of things because it's hard on you, but when you're a young coach and you finally get some of that beat out of you, just like a young player, then you understand what's important, and it's being selfless and not being selfish.